When you wander through Prague, you'll notice a lot of squares have Baroque columns in the center. Some of these have a dark meaning behind them. Many were to give thanks for the end of a recent plague or epidemic. Back in the Middle Ages and Renaissance, there was little that people could do to battle an epidemic except pray. So once the epidemic subsided, the typical thing was to declare that the prayers had been successful and then erect a monument to give thanks to the heavenly spirits. Prague's 3 largest plague columns can be found in the touristy center. These were all erected to mark the end of the plague epidemic of 1713 to 1715. Some 13,000 people died, about 1/4 of the Prague population at the time. It was the last major Black Death outbreak to hit the region. The upper part of Malostranska Náměstí is home to the Holy Trinity column, completed in 1715. The lower part of this column, actually an obelisk, features Jesus with a golden cross and God the Father with a triangular halo. Above that there is a dove depicting the Holy Spirit. Mary, with a crown of stars, can be seen with several Czech patron saints. The Eye of God tops the obelisk, which is a bit unusual. More sculptures were added at the bottom after the famine of 1772. Lightning hit the eye in mid-August 2023. Some people might regard this as a bad omen. Another plague column is in nearby Malteské náměstí in Kampa. It was erected by the Order of the Knights of Malta and was originally part of a fountain. Angels around the base hold shields covered in Latin text. Relief images depict the story of John the Baptist, the patron of the order. The Knights still exists, and the wall of their garden is now the John Lennon Wall. The third column for that plague is near Prague Castle on Hradčanské náměstí. This is the most typical design with a star-crowned Mary on top. The construction was approved in 1725 by Emperor Charles VI, a decade after the plague ended. The light-colored statues are recent copies and the dark ones are originals. Many plague columns across Bohemia and Moravia feature 4 saints, the Czech patrons Wenceslas and Jon Nepomuk, plus 2 saints who oversee illnesses. Sebastian is pierced with arrows, and is supposed to protect people from the invisible arrows of illness. Rocco and his dog treated plague victims. Rocco exposes his injured leg. Saint Rosalia, another patron against plagues, is also sometimes included. These figures and some others can be seen on the narrow facade of the house at the Golden Well near Charles Bridge on Karlova Street. The stucco reliefs were added to the building facade in 1713. Adding the figures to a facade was a neat solution to thank the relevant saints, as the area was already overrun with statues and columns. An earlier epidemic was the inspiration of the plague column and fountain at Karlovo náměstí, in front of the new town hall. Vienna's Great Plague of 1679 hit Prague the following year. The column features Joseph and baby Jesus on top, surrounded by cherubs with golden wings. The base has 4 lion gargoyles that spit into a fountain. A rather small plague column can be found in Vyšehrad, near the rotunda of St. Martin. It has 4 mosaic faces in its capital and dates to few late 1600s. It was in memory of the 1679-80 plague. For mosaics were added in the 1920s. A column in Kinsky Garden between Smíchov and Malostrana originally stood near today's bus turnaround at the Smíchov bus and train station. The column marked the end of the 1679-1680 plague. It was moved in the early 20th century to a wooded area near a small pond at the top of a hill. The column also is supposed to work as a sundial, with the spear in Jesus' side, the arrow in Sebastian, Rocco's pilgrim stick and Rosalia's lilies all casting shadows. The current placement of the column has it shaded by trees, though. A final plague column can be found in the Troja section of Prague 8. This simple stone column has a metal cross on top. A recent plaque near it in Czech says it is from the 16th century, and that a plague cemetery was in the gorge above the pillar. It mentions the plagues of 1568, 1582, 1585, and 1599. The newest column in Prague was erected in 2020, and was completed during the COVID pandemic. It is a copy of a 17th century victory column that was destroyed in 1918, during rowdy celebrations of the independence of Czechoslovakia. While the column marks the victory of Bohemian forces over Sweden in 1650, the column has often been associated with epidemics. Emperor Charles VI said that the 1713 plague was a divine punishment that could only be cured by prayer. People prayed below the statue of Mary that caps the column. When the copy was being installed in 2020, people left flowers at the base in memory of those who fell to COVID. After the column was completed, the space in front of the column was marked with thousands of chalk crosses for the epidemic's victims. Even today, many people mistakenly think the column was erected in response to COVID, and some tour guides even help to spread that misinformation.
Thank you. Please like, follow, and comment.